Okay, let's start our meeting with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just have a few items before we get started. First, I would like to thank our highway department for basically round-the-clock pumping the last two storms that we have. I know we have some from 4th Street here. Hopefully they kept you dry, but they did work round-the-clock on 2 separate occasions to pump the village drainage system. The never-ending Bayville Bridge project is supposed to end on Friday. Friday is supposed to be the last day. Everybody pray that it is, but I did get a tour of all the work that they did, and they did do a beautiful job. The bridge is completed. They're just doing testing. You see they started moving some of the equipment out of place. But it's all hoped that Friday is the last day. The Chamber of Commerce is hosting their Waterside Festival at Ransom on September 7th and 8th. They have live music and arts and crafts, etc. Right, I'm missing with that food, I guess.
They're gonna have some food and the music, and it's from 10 to 5 Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, thank you. We will be hosting our basketball court dedication at West Harbor Beach on Saturday, September 14th at 11 a.m. We'll send out some more notifications to the public. And on the same day, we'll be once again hosting our Fall Fest at the Bayville Commons from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So last year was a great event, and hopefully this year we can out to last year. Hope to see everybody there. Thank you. You may proceed with the rest of the agenda, please.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda are the warrants and claims which have been audited and are submitted to you for approval for payment.
Motion.
Thank you, Trustee Dudley.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh?
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Miniscozy?
Yes.
The next item on the agenda are the prior meeting minutes for the July 25th, 2024 meeting. Also, we had the July 27th, 2024 tax sale. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Trustee Tucker.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecchi. Trustee Walsh?
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Miniscozy?
Yes.
The next item is a proposal from H2M for engineering services related to the replacement of water main and appurtenances on Pine Lane from 5th Street to Bayville Avenue for a total not to exceed $11,200. This replacement has been recommended by our supervisor of water plant operations as a necessary replacement as required by Massachusetts Department of Health to upgrade the water mains. Do I have a motion to accept H2M's proposal?
I make the motion.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecchi.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Vitale. Trustee Walsh?
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Miniscozy?
Yes.
The next item is a IMA between the Village of Bayville and Town of Oyster Bay to authorize the Village of Bayville and for the mayor to sign contract for such purposes as to facilitate the construction, connection, and repair of fire hydrants owned by TOB that are located in the Village of Bayville. So, this year it's been reviewed by council.
Yes, I've reviewed that, and I approve that can be signed with the approval.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Trustee Tucker.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecchi. Trustee Walsh?
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Miniscozy?
Yes.
The next item is a resolution to approve a quote from GoGov for their services, Go Notify Notifications and Alert for Citizen Engagement for the period of 1/1/2025 and 12/31/2025. The amount not to exceed $3,598. GoGov is the company we used to establish our app, and they actually wanted to increase their fee for next year, but I did go back to them and said we wanted to continue with them, and they would hold the price at last year's price, which is what they did. So I I think so far we can consider a successful venture into non-English knowledge.
Very good.
So,
I'll make a motion.
thank you, trustee Walsh.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Belzetti. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Allen?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nichols?
Yes.
The next item are appointments to the Bayville Environmental Conservation Commission, and that is to appoint Jason Pileggi and Jean Pileggi as members of the committee for a term to expire the first Monday in July 2026.
Make the motion.
Thank you, trustee Belzetti.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Tucker. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nichols?
Yes.
We have a request from the Mill River Water Gun Club to hold their annual Children's Snapper Derby on September 7, 2024, West Harbor Beach Docks, starting at 11 a.m. This is an annual event that the Mill River Water Gun Club holds. We have a motion to allow them to use our facility.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Vitale.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Belzetti. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nichols?
Yes.
The next item is a resolution, if I may read it. It is for funding, to apply for funding under the Justice Court Assistance Grant for 2024-2025 grant cycle. And it reads, the village court is requesting authorization from the village board to apply for funding from the Justice Court Assistance Program during the upcoming grant cycle. One required component of the application is a resolution from the village board authorizing the court to apply for this funding. The board of the village of Bayville The Board of the Village of Bayville authorizes the Village of Bayville Village Court to apply for a JCAP grant in the 2024-2025 grant cycle up to $30,000. Authorize the court to do so.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Vitale.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Belzetti. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nichols?
Yes.
Next item is a proposal from Industrial Appraisal, and it is to provide inventory and valuation services for the village of Bayville, total cost not to exceed $8,115, and this is required for both insurance and financial reporting purposes, and has not been done in 5 years, so it's time to update.
I've looked at agreement over it.
It's okay?
Should be okay. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Vitale.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nichols?
Yes.
The next item has to do with garbage refuge containers. Whereas it has been determined that garbage and refuse containers which contain attached lids create substantial inconvenience and hazard in connection with the collection of the contents of such containers. Now therefore be it resolved that there is hereby established a revised regulation under section 56-5B of the Code of the Village of Bayville that the sanitation department does not service pail/containers that are larger than 32 gallons in size, have attached lids, or are for mechanical collection, are hereby deemed to be improper containers, and that the village reserves the right to refuse collection of the contents from such containers of this size and shape. Excuse me. And do I have a motion for that?
I make a motion.
Thank you, trustee Belzetti.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh?
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nichols?
Yes.
item is a IMA agreement between the County of Nassau and the Village of Bayville. It's for funding under the Community Revitalization Program for $150,000 for improvements to the village beach facility. Legislator Samantha Getz is sponsoring this program for the village.
Okay. I've looked it over. I recommend it be approved.
Oh, good.
So I need authorization for the mayor to enter into this agreement.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, trustee Tucker.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Natale. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi?
Yes.
The next item has to do with surplus equipment. And we do have surplus equipment down back, which I'm going to itemize. We have a new canoe, one paddleboard, 3 single-person kayaks, 3 fiberglass dinghies, 1 home light 4-inch trash pump, and 1 home light 3-inch diaphragm pump. They've been inspected, and it's been determined that this equipment is no longer needed for municipal purposes. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville would like to authorize the village clerk treasurer to sell said property fair and out of consideration by sealed bid. Do I have a motion for that?
Make a motion?
Thank you, trustee Belzetti.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Tucker. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi?
Yes.
We have a request from the Locust Valley Middle School Parent Council for use of Soundside Beach and parking on Wednesday, August 28th, from 11 to 3 p.m. The group size is between 50 to 70, and this is for a beach party. And I need a motion to approve the request.
Make a motion?
Thank you, trustee Belzetti.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi?
Yes.
The next item is for the purchase of a new truck for DPW. The proposals are still being sought. I'm asking that the board approve the purchase for an amount not to exceed $75,000, and for the item, the truck to be purchased off of state bid or a similar contracts ready to be back on, whether they're county, state, or other municipalities.
I'm sorry, what was that number, Maria?
$75,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll make the motion for the $75,000.
Thank you, trustee Tucker.
Second?
Thank you, trustee Belzetti. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi?
Yes.
And I will bring before the board the details once the details of the truck are known. The next item is for the purchase of a lawn mower, and it's a new ride-on mower for DPW for Glen and Harold women for a total cost of $8,500. And then DPW did do the due diligence. They ended up with 4 different proposals for this item and for different styles of lawn mower, and they have picked the one for $8,500, and again, from Glen Head Power Equipment.
I'll make a motion?
Thank you, trustee Belzetti.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Tucker. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi?
Yes.
The next item is the lease with Bayville Meat Center. This has been reviewed by the village attorney. It outlines the rent periods and the rent amounts from now, July 1st, I think we're tracking back to July
Until
1st,
2029.
to July 1st, 2029, right?
It's a renewal of an existing lease, and it includes an increase in rents that have been negotiated, and we've made a couple of other little minor changes to it to cover anything that needed to be covered from an insurance standpoint. So I recommend the board approve that, and that it be proffered to the tenant, and after they sign it, to have the mayor sign it. Okay?
What's the square foot on the last,
Oh, boy, it's on, I have it on the, let me check, I think I have it here somewhere.
They
Yeah.
want 20.
Last year, the price per square foot for the current year coming up is going to be 25.21 per foot, and then in the last year, it'll be $30.64.
so you said 24, that's the last year, that's good. Yeah, good.
Do I have a
Make a
motion?
motion, yep.
Thank you, trustee Wilson.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Tucker, trustee Walsh.
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Trustee Giampieri.
Yes.
Mayor Nichols.
Yes.
And the next item is the introduction of proposed local law 80, 2024, entitled Storm Sewers. The local law to amend chapter 63A Storm Sewers, article 1, this is discharge. I'd like to introduce it. The law will be aged. It will be advertised for hearing at the September 23rd meeting.
Just to point out, this was on the recommendation of our engineer.
Correct.
Yeah, these were very technical type changes that the engineers thought were necessary to keep it up to date. And so it shouldn't have been a problem.
The other local law being introduced is proposal for law 80-2024 stormwater control. And it's a local law to amend chapter 63B storm control, article 1, stormwater management and erosion and sediment control. Again, the law will be aged and will be set for hearing at the September 23rd meeting. You all have to give a copy of it as part of what we will provide it for tonight's meeting. Anything else on that, Peter?
I don't have any other comments about
Okay, that's what I have for you, Mayor Ward.
Okay, so let's see, we have a few guests here. Would you like to fill us in on how 4th Street is doing?
Very well, just a brief update. Potholes are done. Basically, the top picture tells it all. They finished the potholes last week. We did get 100%, everybody paid in Twitter.
That's great. That's
And,
good.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's nice to see something done. Everybody needed to see that there was something for their money. So we also collected for the storm during the cleaning. We got 18 out of 19 homeowners paid. We had a meeting and asked what they wanted to do. The majority said that they would contribute to cover the one household that did not pay, could not. And
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Just for the record, to identify yourself.
I'm sorry, I'm Lucia Orlando.
Thank you.
And so we have a tentative date of the 3rd week of September. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the engineer with Clearbrook is on his honeymoon. He got married last weekend, so when he comes back, we'll start the project. And hopefully, I will help. And I do want to say that everyone that I've been talking to, all the neighbors, I've gotten to know all my neighbors very well, and they all say thank you for the pumping that was done. It was pretty amazing when you look at the devastation elsewhere. So thank you, everyone. And the only question I have that everybody's asking me is to pump out the pump station on the 1st and 6th.
We have a meeting with the engineering firm Wednesday, so hopefully we can get everything finalized on Wednesday for that.
And that's about it. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Anybody else that wanted to speak this evening? Anybody?
This on the chair, copy some conduct relations.
Okay, and let's go on. Lived in this town since '79. I'll be brief as I can. That's not bringing up proceedings. So I'm just having a little trouble hearing you now.
I'll be brief, but the matters that I'm bringing up are not trivial. Mr. Weiler, We spoke this morning? I think we
Yes,
misspoke.
yes, I know where you are.
Okay. I just want to ask you a question. If I were to get a summons, and not appear in court, and not give any excuse, and then when I was asked and said, well, I was on vacation, what would happen to me?
If you were to get a summons to come to court,
If I were to get a summons to come to court,
yes.
and I just didn't appear, and then when I was asked for anything, I would just say, well, I was on vacation.
Well, if you received a summons to come to court and didn't appear, then the judge could conceivably issue a warrant to have you brought into court and basically come before him. A lot depends upon whether the summons is backed up by what we call a criminal information, which would be filed by someone who would make a complaint about possible conduct that you might be involved in. So the process is fairly simple. If there's a violation of law, the law enforcement officer has the right to charge you in the form of a complaint.
You don't have to go into all that detail.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It doesn't apply. Just, but just an ordinary citizen got a summons, not a criminal, nothing like that. And then didn't show up, and then, and days later on, he said, well, I'm going to
Oh, if someone calls the court clerk and needs to get an adjournment.
No, they don't do that. They just don't show up, and they give
That
that.
was the point you're trying to get to. The building inspector wasn't here after he issued the summons. I don't know what the building inspector would have to be at court for, but spit it out. You're going around and around with it.
Okay.
Tell him the
Well,
question.
the judge said, Judge Kennedy said he had to be there. He
He
wouldn't
doesn't have
proceed
to
with
be
that.
here. He writes tickets and violations all the time. He doesn't need to be
Okay,
in
so
court for it.
I suffered, okay, my lawyer showed up.
What would he have said if he was here? That he gave you the summons for whatever the issue was?
Judge Kennedy wouldn't let the matter proceed until until the building inspector was present. Okay?
Maybe-
And as a result, the hearing was postponed for 2 months. Now, I suffered the consequences of having to pay my lawyer $500 to come here. Okay, I was punished because, and the man has a secretary, right? And on top of his having a secretary, I got a building permit dated for the day before the hearing, on the 14th of May. And so somebody knew that the matter was to be dealt with. Okay, and Judge Kennedy, as I said, this came from him. He halted the proceeding because of that. Now, I don't know, I feel, right, based on my long, acrimonious dealings with Mr. Roth, that he did this out of contempt. And it occurred 1 week after my wife died. 1 week. I've been taking care of her at home for a year, and I did not need this. So, he doesn't suffer any consequences then. Maybe you should promote him. Okay. As I said, he's got a secretary, Anytime I had a job, I had to clear my desk before if I was going on vacation, right? I cleared my desk, I delegated things, or I canceled them and informed people.
He's not required to be here. I'm
The
sorry that you
judge
disagree with me.
made him, would not proceed without him. Take it up with the judge then.
I think you might want to take that up with the court, not with this board. This board, actually, the judge is independent of this board.
Okay.
So let's understand that. And if you've got a problem with what the judge required, I go back to the judge. And,
No, I've wasted enough time on this. I'm
well,
very,
I'm just
very
letting you know where to
disappointed.
go. That's
Okay.
all.
I'm very
That's what I'm trying to help you
disappointed.
with.
Very disappointed that I'm not getting any support. This man is a village employee. I pay his salary out of my meager Social Security and my small pension, and I'm treated with this contempt in fact. And this has gone on for 2 years. Now, I finally did get a building permit. The matter was postponed until July, okay? So, it was finally resolved in court. My lawyer was there, Mr. Roth was there, it was finally resolved in court, and I paid for the building permit. Now, the building permit is from the date 2 months earlier, okay, before the matter had been resolved. So instead of getting a 12-month permit, I have 10 months. I don't think that's fair. I think that the matter was resolved. The permit could not really have been, was not issued until, even though it was backdated, it couldn't have been issued properly until the matter was disposed of. Okay, so I would like 2 more months to do this work.
What is the permit for?
Plumbing.
I don't think it's an unreasonable request to make of the building department to say, extend it for 2 months, if that's what happened. I mean,
Mr. Wilder, here's what I intend to do. I'm gonna refile. I'm gonna refile from the date that the check cleared, that my $500 check cleared.
Sir, can I ask you to interrupt you for one question? Have you asked the building department for an extension for the 2 months yet?
He and I don't get along.
I don't think personal matters matter here. If you ask for an extension and it is denied, then maybe you can come before the board and ask for.
I'm going to refile in a week or so.
For the same permit?
But a different date. I'm
My
entitled.
point is you're wasting permit application fees to do that.
What
Why
type
not
of
just
plumbing?
ask for an extension?
Is Chevron plumbing not rectifying your problem in the upcoming week? I mean, that's the information that I was given. What do you mean? I don't know what it is.
I have a year to complete this work according to the permit. I cannot do it now. I don't have the resources to do it now. Okay? I may need that extra 2 months. I may need that extra 2 months, and I feel that I'm entitled to it. It was he that didn't show up, and it was he that didn't get the matter resolved in May when it should have been. So, just because he dates the stamp, puts a stamp on for the 14th of May, but the matter wasn't resolved until July. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I'd rather move on. By the way, Mr. Wilder, you informed me this morning that Mr. Roth accused me of what amounts to assault.
He told me that someone kicked the chair.
Someone?
Yeah, he thinks it was you.
He
So
thinks
that's
it
all I
was
can tell
me.
you. Well, I don't know, that's what he
How
told me.
often do people come in and kick his chair?
That's what he told me, okay?
Okay,
Apparently you two do not get along, and he did not feel comfortable in having dealings with you.
I don't blame
That's
you.
the reason I called you. I was trying to explain to you that we ought to settle things down and not get involved in the woods on things like that.
well,
And that's all I can tell you.
Judge,
Let's get you in compliance with the law, and the quicker it's done, the better, I think.
you told me that he said that I kicked his chair, okay? I take a very dim view of being murdered. I take a very dim view of being murdered. And I also said, would he be willing to make that statement under oath? I will deny it under oath.
Well, you won't deny anything under oath. You can always appear to any
If
place
it
you
should
want.
come to that.
Yeah,
Mr.
if
Wilder.
it comes to
You don't
that.
think the email
That's the
you
whole
sent
point,
today
that's the
was
reason I
threatening
called
in
you.
any- You don't think the email you sent to him today was threatening in any way?
Say it.
The question is, his perception, he
Okay,
felt that the
okay.
email you sent to him.
Let the people here judge whether it was a threat. Let the people, it may not have been the most polite thing, right?
He took
I may
it as
have
a
been
threat.
wrong.
He was the one that was just.
Okay.
He took it as a threat and
Did
don't
you
try
see
to-
it? Did you
Yes,
see it?
I absolutely did.
Oh, and you feel that was a threat?
I mean, I could see how he could interpret it as a threat, sure.
You know, it's funny because usually, from watching crime shows, the assault is preceded by the threat. The threat doesn't happen after the assault. Okay, so I assaulted the guy when, 2 weeks ago, and now I threaten him? I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. But as I said, I take a very dim view of being alive, a very dim view. And I challenge that guy to, I'll say it under oath if I have to, and it may come to that. It may come to that. Why weren't charges pressed? If I went into his office and kicked his chair, why weren't the police called? Why wasn't I taken away in handcuffs? Because he's such a nice guy? Because we get along so well? I think not. I think not. All right, I'm going to move on to the next matter. My wife, my late wife, she worked for the town in a small capacity. She was a beach gate guard. Everybody liked her. She's friendly with, was friendly with Vicky Siegel. Shortly after the election, Ms. Natali, Vicky Siegel told me that you told her that Mr. Groth was going to be fired.
I never made that statement to anyone. I wouldn't make a statement like that.
Somebody is not telling the truth.
If I would swear, as you said, you swear, I would swear under oath, I never made that statement.
So she lied to me?
Well, she may have twisted some words. I'm not accusing.
She said it directly to me.
I'm not accusing the former mayor of lying.
Okay, okay. Let's say, let's leave that go for a
You know, sir.
Yes.
Mrs. Siegel, Mayor Siegel, she's not here. You're making statements that you say she said, and this will go nowhere. If she wants to
Okay,
come
let it
here
go nowhere,
and tell me to my face that I said the building inspector, Douglas Groth,
Well, I can't.
would be fired.
I can't.
You know, that would just be.
I can't bring it in. I'm telling you what she said.
What's the point of bringing it up?
You know,
What's
where
the
this is
point of
going.
bringing this up? Like, you're talking about hearsay, obviously you have a problem with
Please
that.
indulge me.
We are,
Okay,
but you're bringing up hearsay.
Furthermore, I'm friendly, not exactly friendly, but I'm friendly with John Taylor. And at that time, he told me that he heard the same thing from another source.
When was all this said? Can I ask you a question? Is this, when was all this said?
I'm glad you're amused.
When was all this
I
said?
am amused. It's a joke.
So,
The thing
It
that
was
you're forgetting,
shortly after the
let's
election.
Which
start
election?
here.
Which
You got
election?
caught with an illegal apartment in your house, and you didn't like what Doug told you. You seemed to leave that part of the whole story out. You had an illegal apartment and you got caught. That's the bottom line of it. Or you would have never crossed paths with Doug to begin with.
We spoke the day before the election, you and I.
And I told you to go vote for John, which I assume that you did, because I was tired of listening to you then,
Yes.
and I'm tired of listening to you now. You're not telling us anything new.
Okay, I'm not telling you anything new, and my complaint to you, I did not complain about getting the summons.
You didn't like the way he talked to you. You didn't like what he told you. It had
No,
nothing
I
to do
don't,
with
I
what he
didn't
told
like his insolence. I didn't like his insolence. I'm 76 years old. He's half my age. I won't repeat all the garbage that I took from that man. Unprovoked. Unprovoked. I took myself to the doctor because I was getting tension in my chest. I was so angry. That's what I came to you about. I did not, and I told you at the time, I said, I'm not contesting that I got a summons, okay? I'll deal with that. I did not contest that. I contested his manner, okay? Okay? 2 people said he was gonna be gone, and yet he's still
Sir, are you
here.
asking the board to do something today?
I'm telling you, you can do what you want. I'm telling you facts, that's all. You can act on them as you choose. I can't force you to do anything. Somebody on the board is the liaison for the variance Board of Appeals. That's so.
It's Lisa, right? She's not here. She's always okay.
I'm ZBA. ZBA.
Is that?
I'm the ZBA liaison.
Okay.
Not for-
May I speak to you privately?
Privately, now?
No, not
Oh.
now.
Yeah.
Make an appointment, it's gonna take me a week or so to get, some emails together. I have other things, documents I have to get together, but, there were some very irregular things that went on during the last variance hearing that occurred in February. Some very irregular things involving Mr. Groff's presentation, and the board's failure, to do anything about it. And it's all in the transcript. It's all in the transcript. And I don't.
Regarding your property?
Excuse me?
Regarding your property? Was the variance regarding your property? Okay, I just wanted clarification.
By the way, I spoke to an attorney in Locust Valley about this matter. And you know, the first thing he asked me was, this place has been rented since long before I got there, okay? And first thing he asked me, and this is a guy his father was a judge from Locust Valley. Maybe you know him, I won't mention his name. First thing he asked me, who complained? Nobody.
You called the building inspector that had your gas pipes in there. Tell the truth. You absolutely did. You couldn't get the gas account turned on because it had been off for so long.
Yes.
So you insisted that he came there. So you wanted him to go there, see your illegal apartment and just turn his back and walk away. That's what you were expecting him to do when he went there?
I was expecting him to restore service, gas service to an existing line. That's what I was expecting.
So he should have just said, oh, there's an illegal apartment here and left and not done anything about it? No, the answer is no. The answer is no, and that's where we are now. So you went to the zoning board of appeals. They turned you down. What else is it that you want?
Perhaps you'll feel differently after I speak to Mr.
Peter.
Velsecki. Yes. After I speak to Mr. Velsecki in private. These irregularities that I'm talking about are well documented in the transcript. In the transcript. Some very egregious monkey business went on. Okay? And it went on. Somebody on the board, a woman on the board, I believe, not the chairperson, but the young woman on the board, she actually brought the matter up herself and said, what is this? And I spoke up about it. But my lawyer pretty much silenced me and said, let's get out of here, we've had enough. I wasn't going to get, the thing that troubles me, Mr. Minicozy, is that I was told by Mr. Groth, in my cottage, he said, you get a variance or gut the place.
Tell me the truth. What is it you want?
Okay, well, so what was my choice? I applied for the variance, but here's the kicker. Like a month before the last hearing, he tells my lawyer, nobody gets a use variance. So I was virtually forced into applying for something at a cost of like 15 grand and counting.
You weren't forced to apply.
Okay.
You could have gutted it out.
Okay, well.
You took a chance. You had the right to go before the zoning board of appeals, and that's the route that you took. You could have chose option A.
Okay, there's more to it than that.
There's not more to it than that.
Well, I'll tell you that there is more to it than that, if you'll listen. If you'll listen. Not long before the last hearing, he told my lawyer, and there are emails to document this, he told my lawyer that he had offered me, that he had withdrawn the requirement, he got the place, and, you know, he plea bargained it down or whatever to a much, all I would have to do was remove the sink or something like that. That's what he said a month before, okay? He said that he had said that at the time when I first got the summons. Now, Mr. Weiler, you and I and he were in the room over there, and he reiterated it, or rather, he didn't reiterate it. I brought it up and you heard him say nothing about it. I protested, I said, what am I gonna do? And you shrugged, and he said nothing. And then later on, he said, well, I gave him another opportunity. That was a lie. It never happened.
Mr. Muscolo, I understand what you're trying to do, but my suggestion to you is to, you've consulted attorneys, you were represented by an attorney before the zoning board. The zoning board rendered a decision. It speaks for itself. It was based upon the evidence that was submitted at the hearing and the testimony, and the board made a decision.
Well,
And there's again, I'm not going to give you legal
I am
advice.
not contesting.
You're the one that applied for a variance. If you have a problem with that, then you may be able to seek other remedies. That's where it is.
Misunderstanding me. I never protested either to Mr. Minicoti or to you that I had to get a variance. I never protested that. I protested that the guy told me he's gonna gut the place, right? So I acted on that, and you witnessed that, whether you remember it or not. And then 2 years later, he tells my lawyer, well, I offered the poor bastard I offered the guy an out, and he opted not to take it. So it's his tough luck.
That I don't recall.
Well,
I don't recall any conversation along those lines.
Okay, no, that didn't happen then. He said he offered me an out, which he did not. And I have the emails to show that he said it.
You're getting involved in it. You said, he said. I don't know who said what when. And I think basically, you've lodged your complaint about his conduct, but we also feel that his conduct is appropriate because his job is to administer the regulations of the village and to make inspections when applications are filed with it. I believe you filed an application. All he wants to do is to inspect your property, do what he's normally required to do, without having any sort of apprehension about you maybe doing something which is threatening to him, at least in his mind. That's where it boils down to, and that's the reason I called you today. I called you today to say, let's calm down and let's get things over with and done. It's to your benefit to get your house and the buildings on your property up to snuff and certified in every way, shape, and form. The sooner you do that, the happier you'll be and the happier we'll be. Well, it's the way I look at it.
Let me tell you something that Mr. Minicoti is aware of. Okay? While I was having my first dealings with the guy, right, which absolutely were horrendous. I have rarely been so insulted in my life for no reason. I did my very best to appease the guy, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. He insulted me on the telephone, he insulted me in person, and I don't think that's right. I don't think I should take any kind of nonsense like that from anybody having to do with the village board. I'm almost a 50-year citizen of this town. A 50-year citizen of this town. No one has ever made a complaint about me. My neighbors love me, okay? The second variance hearing, I got a stack of consent forms for me to continue using the place, okay? But I knew that I wasn't going to get the variance. I went because I was unable to attend the first one because my wife was in the hospital. And I did not like what I read in the transcript. I did not want to be on the record. I did not go to the second hearing expecting to get the variance because I was told. And my lawyer consulted, he was told by Mr. Roth, and he consulted the previous chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals who said the same thing. Nobody gets a use variance. Yet, I was virtually coerced into doing that.
No, you weren't. Your attorney knew well what the requirements were to get a use variance. And that has a very heavy burden of proof.
I understand.
It has a very heavy burden of truth. If I recall correctly, at the time the board decided it, Nick Capitola explained to you that the burden you had was a great burden. So you chose to try and do that, but you couldn't do it. And consequently, that's one of the reasons
I
when you read the decision,
I
why the
chose to
board denied your appeal.
I chose to do that because I did not want to have to gut the place. I didn't want to have to be forced to.
You understand that, but the very fact remains that I believe that the village has no problem with you utilizing the place in a manner which is consistent with it being an accessory dwelling, not a dwelling, but an accessory building for the purposes of storage or for any other reasonable use that people have accessory buildings for. It just can't be occupied or rented. That's what you can't do.
I did not, as far as this burden of proof, a heavy burden, okay? Well, my lawyer told me maybe he's incompetent. I don't know. He met with you and Mr.
I don't
Ross.
think he's incompetent. It's just that he didn't have the evidence to prove his case.
Well, I'm
And
talking
you couldn't
about.
produce, look, this can go on all night. I think
Okay,
maybe.
it won't go on all
maybe
night.
we
I'll
ought to
leave
end.
very shortly. I'll leave very shortly.
Okay.
Okay? But there was a meeting that took place. I wasn't present. I sat outside between. You were in the meeting, Roth was in the meeting, and my lawyer was in the meeting. And he came out with it saying, I think his words to you were, I don't want to go to war over this. And he came out of the meeting telling me, well, I'm cautiously optimistic. That's what he told me.
Okay.
So I proceeded on that basis. Now, I'm out a whole lot of money. I'm out a whole lot of money. I have no wife. And this town has spat on me. This town has spat on me. That's all I have to say. But, Mr. Belsecki, if I may speak to you in a week or so, I have to get some relevant emails together to show you. I think you're going to have to go to the files.
Yeah, well, contact Nikki when you're ready to see me, and then also forward any emails, all the stuff you have, so I can look at it beforehand.
Well, I don't think, there aren't that many that are relevant, number one, and I don't think, you'll have to see them in context. I won't be able to describe them in advance to you, but it won't take long for you. I'm not gonna take much of your time.
Okay.
Half an hour most, but it has to be broad. Your number, please?
Contact Nikki, she'll get in touch with you.
Nikki? Your number?
516-628-1439, extension 112.
Anybody else? Sarah, in the back, did you have something? Do you want to speak this evening? Okay.
Nothing else?
We're-
Then I'll take a motion to close the meeting. Record show at 7:18 p.m.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Trustee
Tucker?
Trustee Walters.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Jimmy Fallon? Trustee Jimmy Fallon?
Yes.
Trustee Belsecki?
Yes.
Mayor Nichols?
Yes.
Thank you.